Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the April Fool's Day edition of the Ways and Means Committee. We have a hearing on 12 Senate bills today. Delighted to have our senators with us, having just ended their floor session recently. We have the posted bill order, but not all the senators are here, so we will be taking Senator Feldman, Senator Augustine, and then Senator Edwards, and then back to the order as they show up. Senator Feldman, I believe we have just one bill from you today, Senate Bill 459.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Just very quickly, this bill was intended at the outset to be a cross-file of Delegate Chee's House Bill 987, and it's a little, because of the sequence of events and when she pre-filed, they weren't designated as such, and there's really only one difference in the bill that's in front of you from Delegate Chee's House Bill 987. But just very quickly, last year, this committee, your committee passed, and we passed something called the Maryland Small Business Innovation Research Technology Assistance Program, passed through both chambers, signed into law by the governor. And to remind you, just what that bill that passed last year did was it established a program to provide technical assistance to small businesses that were trying to get grants, small business grants from the federal government, small business technology transfer programs, grants. This program, this technical assistance program, is administered by TEDCO. All the bill this year did was to, again, this bill and Delegate Chee's bill is to expand the program for eligible companies that aren't just seeking SBIR grants from NIH, et cetera. It's a broader swath of the universe, and that's all the bill does. The only difference, again, one amendment that's on one part of the bill that's on the Senate bill is in a provision that there's language, the technical assistance provided under this program shall, and there's one provision that says it includes support with attracting and accessing private capital. So that provision providing technical assistance as outlined elsewhere in the bill, that's the only difference between the Senate bill and the bill you heard earlier this session, Delegate Chee's bill, Madam Chair. I'd be happy to answer any questions, but these were intended to be cross files. You did hear that bill earlier in the session.
All right, thank you, Senator Feldman.
Finance Committee and the full Senate, by the way.
Thank you. Any questions for Senator Feldman? All right, thank you, Senator. We're done with the hearing on Senate Bill 459. As I said before, we're now just taking them in the order they showed up. So Senator Patterson, you're after Senators Augustine and Edwards, and then Senator Gallion. Senator Augustine, we have two bills from you today. Go ahead.
Yes, thank you very much, Chair Kaiser and members of the committee. Senator Augustine here to present Senate Bill 609, Economic Development, Maryland Industrial Development Finance Authority Marketing Plan. Chair Kaiser, during the interim Senate, President Ferguson created an advisory group on equity and inclusion led by President Pro Tem Griffith. One of the categories is wealth and economic opportunity. The 21st recommendation was to modernize the Maryland Industrial Development Finance Authority to increase its utilization and leverage its ability to assist the state's women and minority-owned businesses. In addition, market the Department of Commerce's credit insurance service to community banks and financial institutions, including those that make loans to historically disadvantaged firms and firms located in rural areas. Consider incentivizing the use of credit insurance programs. And this bill does just that. It's a credit facility that provides gap insurance to lenders to help loans pencil. And the underlying fund provides capacity to support additional lending. And this bill, as I mentioned, requires the program administrators to create a marketing plan that looks to get to minority and women-owned businesses so that they are more apt to utilize this service. And it really is tied into the lenders. And so in my discussions with the administrators of the program within the Department of Commerce, it was pretty clear that there were some opportunities to market to lenders who really lend to minority and women-owned businesses, including those community banks and member institutions of the National Bankers Association, voice of minority banking since 1927. The plan helps to identify utilization of those such services by the community banks and financial institutions. And Chair Kaiser and members of the committee, I ask for a favorable report on Senate Bill 609.
Thank you, Senator. Questions, Delegate Barnes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Senator Augustine, I'm I like the bill. Can you explain to me some of the marketing measures in which they're looking to take up to reach out to the small and minority-owned businesses?
Chair Barnes, that's where I had a good conversation with them because they really were not even, I mean, they weren't necessarily, they didn't know about some of these institutions. And so I've agreed to kind of work with them on the identification of the minority banks. And they agreed that they would reach out to them because this is a program for the lenders. It's been underutilized. It really acts as a gap insurance to help make those loans pencil. And so I identified some of those places, and they were going to actually choose to reach out. I told them about some of the annual conferences. They were open to participating in those things in order to let the lending community know that this is available for minority businesses, disadvantaged businesses in Maryland.
And then do we know how that information is going to get out to those businesses?
It's going to get out to them. That's the point of the bill. The point of the bill is for them to establish the marketing plan. They have to report back to us as well, such that, and then we were going to keep track of them and make sure that they are in fact reaching out to those lenders.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Any other questions? All right, thank you, Senator Augustine. Your second bill, Senate Bill 639.
Thank you, Chair Kaiser and members of the committee. The Senate Bill 639 seeks to establish within the, I'm sorry, just give me a second here. 639 establishes the inclusion fund at TEDCO. This was also a recommendation from the Senate President's Advisory Group. The inclusion fund was a recommendation that came, said that TEDCO should be looking at some of the businesses that are within the builder fund that fall below 51% economic of ownership, but above 30%, and to just try to provide ability for them to be able to raise money. A lot of times these companies have to dilute in order to be able to raise additional money, but they would fall out of compliance with the builder fund. And so that's what this really does. So the fund is to provide capital and non-equity investments in those technology-based businesses that would qualify for the fund, being at least 30% owned by individuals who demonstrate economic disadvantage, but that are also controlled and managed by an individual or individuals who demonstrate similar economic disadvantage, I apologize, for at least 1 year, so that we make sure that they're actually the people who are with the business. And that TEDCO must include information on that implementation of the fund in its annual report. I worked on this with TEDCO. They are supportive of this. I've identified that there is this gap for these businesses that are a part of the builder fund, that they can take that next step of growth, but the access to this particular form of investment has been historically challenging and not as accessible for disadvantaged individuals. That's what this bill looks to do. It looks to bridge that gap. TEDCO will support this creation of the fund and intends to fund it with $1.5 million over the next 5 years, which will fund 7 to 8 companies along the way. We conferred with Senate Budget and Tax on this investment. Chair Kaiser and members of the committee, I ask for your favorable report.
Thank you, Senator Augustine. Any questions? Delegate Buckle?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Senator. And I think you kind of answered my question right at the end of your presentation. I just want to make sure. So the cost or the funding for the bill or for this new fund is $1.5 million into the fund for these defined purposes for a 5-year period. Is that accurate? And that's all really, that's the only funding.
Well, it's TEDCO funding. And again, we did confer with the budget folks, but it's actually 1.5 each year such that they can then make those investments into 7 or 8 entities each year. I'm sorry if I wasn't clear, but that's.
No, that's exactly my understanding. It's 1.5 million. It's not taking from any other TEDCO funds.
That is correct.
So to speak, and it would last for a 5-year program. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
All right, thank you. Are there any other questions? All right. Thank you, Senator Augustine. Delightful to see you twice this week.
I know. Thank you. Bye-bye.
We'll next go to Senator Edwards, 2 bills, and then Senator Patterson, and then Senator Gallion. Senator Edwards, also delightful to see you as well. We have 2 bills from you today. Go ahead.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Madam Chair. It's good seeing you again. Let you know we did pass one of your bills on third reader on.
I just saw that. Thank you so much. It was unanimous. I appreciate that.
That's correct. First bill, Senate Bill 622, which is crossfired, get my tongue straight here, cross-filed bill, House Bill 711, who the sponsor is Delegate Jones, who's on your committee.
Who's from your district, in fact.
She's originally from Cumberland, and during the interim, she called me and asked me if I would have an interest in sponsoring a bill on the Senate side, and I said, oh, well, yeah, we can do that. So that's where it came from this side, but I'll make sure it gets, hers gets through and over here. Yeah, no,
It was unanimous in both chambers, is that correct?
pardon me?
I think it was, the original bills were unanimous in both chambers?
Was unanimous here.
It's a unanimous here as well.
Okay. Keep in mind, we're in a pandemic here and we're past the 9-month category. So you can probably look for a lot of newborns here starting shortly. My little town of 700, we know 3 cases where twins are going to come around in May or June. One happens to be my son and his wife. So we'll be getting 2 more grandchildren here in a not too distant future. So anyway, the bill creates.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Subtraction modification against state income tax for a person who makes a qualified donation to a diaper bank or charity entity registered with the comptroller. Comptroller adopt regulations. The modification is equal to $1,000. There's different kinds of products, the disposable diapers, hygiene products for infants, children, or feminine personal hygiene products, or cash donations. We have several food banks in our neck of the woods, and a lot of times people will donate these kind of products to the food banks. So this will allow them the opportunity actually to donate more. Be a pretty big increase in donations from people to help out with those kind of products. So I would ask for your support of Senate Bill 622.
All right. Well, I thank you. I expect that you'll have it. How about House Senate Bill 803?
Okay, Matt, this one might take me a pinch longer. This is, I'll just say this, probably one of the most important bills we put in for Western Maryland for a long, long time. As you know, you all passed a bill last year. We had a bill in and you amended the bill on your side to create the Western Maryland Economic Future Development Task Force, which establishes a Western Maryland Economic Future Investment Board and Fund. We had a lot of participation from this group. We're not totally done. You passed a bill to extend the time frame, but we did come up with about 5 bills at this point to try to get through, and basically all of them are moving. This is be a 5-year program for 3 counties of Western Maryland, and definition of those 3 counties are Garrett, Allegheny, and Washington County. Sets up 11-member investment board, 3 each from each county. 1 from the Maryland Municipal League, and the chair would be a person from the Department of Commerce. Tri-County Council for Western Maryland, which is already in existence, will provide staffing, so it won't cost any money to do that. And a county or local entity within a member county may submit a proposal to this board. The project must be 1, a capital infrastructure project linked to economic development as approved by the board. And this requires a 20% match by whomever submits the project. We believe that all these projects and the locals need to have some skin in the game. So we make sure that if they fit under this first category, it's a 20% match. Number 2, a business development project that encourages and promotes downtown neighborhood revitalization, small business tourism, and other areas approved by the board. This category requires a 10% match. This program would not deny access for money under any other Maryland state programs. They can work in tandem and may be used to complete an already approved project. A report on the project must be made, and if it's not accomplishing what was proposed, the money has to be paid back. There'd be a mechanism set up for that. The bill we amended in the Senate, we came in with a $20 million a year approach for 5 years. We amended it over here for $15 million. 7.5 would be mandated either through capital and operating or a combination of the two. And the governor would be requested by the General Assembly to put in 7.5 million to make the 15 million. It's the intent of this bill that it's a $15 million per year program for 5 years. This bill passed the Senate 45-0. If you look at the packet, which we sent, hopefully all of you got it. If you take 2 seconds to look at it, that was given to each of you with charts and graphs, you will see that Western Maryland, these 3 counties are at the bottom of the barrel in almost every economic category in the state. And we're trying our daggone best to get out of that situation. And this would be very, very, very helpful. Western Maryland needs help. And this is no different than other programs or one-shot things that have passed help certain parts of the state. And I have a whole list here. I've been here a while. I'm not going to read it, Madam Chair, but I can rattle off all kinds of hundreds of millions of dollars we've given the individual counties, et cetera, to help them with economic development. And I've basically supported probably all of them because I like trying to help other parts of the state out. Would like to impress upon you that this is the most important bill, and I mentioned this before, that we put in for Western Maryland for quite some time. So I'm asking for your favorable vote on Senate Bill 803. There's a cross-file bill, House Bill 1144, which is put in by my colleague somewhere on that screen, Delegate Buckle, who's the co-chair. He and I co-chaired this group.
All right, well, I see we have a question from him. Delegate Buckle.
Thank you. So I just wanted George, Senator Edwards, to make clear, and you can answer. I don't know if I'm forming it in the form of a question, but this committee has heard the bill, and as Senator Edwards indicated in negotiations with the Senate leadership and the Senate budgetary leadership, we've moved the bill down to where essentially the only mandated spending is the $7.5 million fund for 5 years. The other $7.5 million is discretionary spending, so that would be subject to future appropriations by future Governor Hogan next year and whoever whoever wins the 2022 election for the remaining 4 years of the program. And as you indicated, Senator Edwards, this is for 3 counties. So there's no provision in the bill that the 7.5 million mandated has to go to one county or the other, or it has to be divided equally. But if it was divided equally, it would be about 2.5 million each year of mandated spending by this legislature for each county. Is that a fair way to look at it?
That's one way to look at it, but the way it's set up, as you said, it doesn't go to any, it depends on the projects that are requested and approved by this board.
Right. And so that's all I wanted to say. This really is the most transparent way that we can think of to try to help get direct state funding into projects. We have a very difficult time sometimes getting the Department of Commerce and other economic development entities, TEDCO, MEDCO, getting to the top of their list because of a variety of factors. And we get less money spent probably from the Department of Commerce, MEDCO, and TEDCO than probably almost any other region of the state. Is that a fair way to look at it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, I thank you. Thanks for working for you. And I hope the committee really seriously will keep working on it this week to see what we can do. Thank you.
Now, Delegate Buckle, this is a sponsor-only hearing, but great questions.
I just do what I'm told. I work for somebody.
I understand. All right, if there are no other questions for Senator Edwards, thank you so much, Senator Edwards. We're going to go
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the committee.
We're going to go to Senator Patterson with the Senate Bill 45.
Thank you, Madam Chair, Mr. Vice Chair, and members of the Ways and Means Committee. I do appreciate the opportunity to introduce Senate Bill 45, and I should say, having served 8 years on this committee and chair of the Election Law Committee, it's sort of good to be back. Senate Bill 45, as amended by the Senate Budget and Taxation Committee, is requesting the Maryland Racing Commission in coordination with the State Lottery and Gaming Control Agency to study the distribution and use of local impact grants pursuant to Title 9, Subtitle 1A of the state article. Senate Bill 45 is also requesting a study by the Maryland Department of Excellence on problem gambling within the University of Maryland Medical School and the behavioral health administration within the Maryland Department of Health in coordination with the State Lottery Gaming and Control Agency to conduct a study as well. And in addition, the Maryland Department of Commerce is also asked to do a participation study relative to the small minority women business account that was established under Section 1501 under the Senate Bill 1 of 2012. And finally, Madam Chair and members, we are requesting that these reports be forwarded back to the respected committees and to the governor's office by December 1 of 2021. This bill passed out of Health and Education Committee by a vote of 13-0, and at the entire Senate by a vote of 45-0. There was one opposition of which we have taken care of. Other than that, there was no other opposition. There's a minimal cost to conduct the study. And Madam Chair and members, I ask for a favorable report relative to Senate Bill 45.
Thank you, Senator. Any questions for Senator Patterson? All right, thank you, Senator Patterson.
Thank you.
Hearing on Senate Bill 45, we will go to Senator Gallion, Senate Bill 919.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Hello, committee members. Good afternoon. For the record, Senator Jason Gallion here to introduce Senate Bill 919, Horse Racing Fair Hill Natural Resources Management Area. You previously heard this legislation from Delegate Hornberger on behalf of the Cecil County delegation early last month. So I'll just talk to the changes or the amendments on it. The amendments will provide two elements to sustain the special event zone through its startup phase until sufficient on-site revenue can be realized. First, the legislation will guarantee the heightened level of facility maintenance is achieved during the awarded life of the five-star event. Second, it will provide $500,000 for a supporting appropriation for the event that will be held in the fall of 2022. Maryland needs to properly maintain its investment in Fair Hill while working to attract the proper private sector partner. Senate Bill 919 provides that support in this critical startup period. Without these funds, operations and maintenance of these new facilities will compete with other needs within DNR. This burden was not previously contemplated and needs to be accounted for now before these world-class facilities begin to deteriorate. If they are allowed to do so, the cost of bringing them back up to the current standard will be much greater. Also, the amendments allow for more flexibility of scheduling for the different races and events. This bill passed both Budget and Taxation Committee and the full Senate unanimously, and I would request a favorable committee vote on this. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Let me ask the question, just in terms of the racing days. I just want to clarify. What does this bill do for the number of racing days?
So it allows some flexibility. So on right now, it was more the commission with the Cecil Breeders' Fair Inc. could hold races had to be on at least 2, but not more than 8 one-day race meetings a year for steeplechase, hurdle, or flat racing. And the amendment deletes the at least 2. So that gives some more flexibility. And also a little later on in the bill, it says in conjunction with this racing, an ag fair with livestock entered for exhibition shall be held under auspices of the State Fair Board. And this makes that shall a may.
Okay, all right, thank you. We do have another question, Delegate Buckle.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Delegate Hornberger keeps telling me that he's going to bring me up to Fair Hill to see the facility and have a nice day in Cecil County. He never does it. You know, he's typical for that. I never get to come. But my understanding, I've never been there. Can you give us some clue? My understanding is that if you guys are
The
able,
entire committee has been there, Delegate Buckle.
I know I had to work. I had to work when we took the trip there. Delegate Hornberger said I would get a special trip, and that's never happened. I'm sure Senator Gallion would be happy to host me and walk around and see Fair Hill. But Senator, in all seriousness, my understanding is that if you guys are able to fully develop this facility the way that you want to with these funds, and you get this this event the 5-star event, that it'll have a significant economic development and tourism impact for your county. Can you quantify in any way, what you think that will be?
I can't give you solid numbers. Maybe Delegate Hornberger's heard some estimates, but I can tell you that there's only 6 of these events in the whole world, the 5-star. There's only one other one in the United States. We'd be the second. So this would be a huge boom for the economy in that whole area. So as far as the numbers, I don't know if Delegate Hornberger has heard any quotes, but it's going to be great. And I would love to have you, and we'll go for a tour, and maybe even the Cecil Fair around the same time. You could join us at the Cecil Fair, and maybe Delegate Hornberger and I can talk you into buying some livestock from the youth livestock auction there to support 4-H while you're out there.
I got to buy enough of that in Allegheny County, but I appreciate that. But that was my understanding when we heard the bill the first time, that this project or this race event meet has the ability to maybe create enough economic impact that essentially it's paying for itself. The money's advancing to get this done. We're going to get them back over time through increased economic activity, sales taxes, hotel motel taxes, all kinds of things that would inure to the state's benefit. So we're really not spending money. We're just sort of advancing money, and we get it back, assuming that this works.
Right. It's just basically, this is kind of as a horse racing analogy. We're at the starting gate, ready to go. Just need a little help to get it rolling. And once it gets rolling, it'll be a great thing for the state.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Any other questions? All right, thank you, Senator Gallion. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you.
We're done with the hearing on Senate Bill 919. Just one second here. We will go to the 2 bills from Senator Kagan. We have Ryan Kirby here from her office. 1 bill, I apologize. Senate Bill 80.
Hello, thank you, Chair Kaiser, Vice Chair Washington, members of the committee. For the record, my name is Ryan Kirby, Senator Kagan's Chief of Staff, and I am here on her behalf. She's in appropriations at the moment, and apologizes that she could not be here. SB 80 is the cross-file bill for HB 6, which is sponsored by Delegate Feldmark in this committee, and it passed the House unanimously. The bill does 2 things. It simply renames the executive director to the CEO, and aligning them more closely with the peers in their industry. It also expands the 15-member board to 19. It gives 2 positions to the Speaker of the House, and 2 positions appointed by the Speaker of the House and 2 by the Senate President. And then as of yesterday, we were contacted by TEDCO, who had a couple of concerns about the 2-term limit that was enacted in the Senate for the HBCU representation. And we're currently working with Delegate Feldmark's office in TEDCO to try and alleviate some of those concerns and get the bill moving in the right direction. But I urge a favorable report on SB 80, and I would be happy to take any of your questions.
Thank you. Any questions from Mr. Kirby from Senator Kagan's office? All right, seeing none, we're done with the hearing on Senate Bill 80. I just saw Senator Hester coming in. Senator Hester, are you there? Can we start with Senate Bill 769? Senator Hester, can you begin on Senate Bill 769? You're still muted. Go ahead.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Great. Sorry, just pulling up my testimony. It's great to see you all.
Same.
My God, the Wi-Fi. Okay. Chair Kaiser, Vice Chair Washington, members of the House Ways and Means Committee, thank you for your consideration of 769. As you all know, over the past year, our communities have seen an unprecedented need for food assistance. Obviously, enrollment in the federal Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program was up, and the Maryland Food Bank estimates that normally 1 in 9 Marylanders suffer from food insecurity. And this year, the cost to purchase food has grown from $5 million to $23 million in just 1 year. In my own county, we've seen a 300% increase in demand and a tripling of food prices. 769, as it currently sits before you, reflects the language as introduced in the Senate. It's a modest expansion of the existing tax credit for each venison donation from $50 to $75. It also increases the annual cap of income tax credits from $200 to $600, and it extends the program sunset from 23 to 27. It also importantly requires the Department of Natural Resources to study the testing of deer brought to processors for chronic wasting disease and report their findings to the General Assembly. I've had a number of conversations with the House Majority Leader, who, as you know, has passed HB 7, which addresses the same area of code, creating a specific grant program for venison donation, sunsetting the existing tax program in 2023, and placing the grant program to be administered for the processing of venison meat for local food banks. And we're working closely with Delegate Lukey's office to deconflict these two bills. It's my understanding that there will be amendments offered to change this one to a grant program instead of the tax credit, if that is the will of this committee. I also just wanted to let you guys know that many of the county executives, including my own Howard County executive, Dr. Ball, has partnered with me this year on several programs to connect farmers and food banks. And this would be a great addition to help the local counties. So in closing, it's a modest bill that would make an existing program more effective. And with the amendments that Delegate Lukey and I will be working on, I believe this program can be more effective for Maryland's hunters, our food banks, and those struggling with food insecurity throughout the state. So I'd request a favorable report for Senate Bill 769 and happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Senator. Any questions on Senate Bill 769? All right, thank you, Senator Hester. Let's move on to your second bill, Senate Bill 885.
Excellent. Thank you, Madam Chair. I had a PowerPoint that I wanted to show. Is that possible?
No, we're not able to do that.
Okay. Give me just a second then and let me pull up my notes then. Sorry, our office called and was told that it was okay, but I'll.
We've said no to everybody this session. So that was
interesting. Okay. Well, this is another good bill, and I'm happy to send the PowerPoint by email afterwards. It addresses economic and community redevelopment for catalytic revitalization tax credits. And I want you to know that the Maryland's Historic Revitalization Tax Credit is a way to catalyze economic growth and neighborhood revitalization. Now, last year I was here in support of making the existing Historic Revitalization Tax Credit a more effective program. And this year is more specific, aimed at the specific type of catalytic revitalization projects. And it's particularly important for these large, formerly owned historic complexes in our state. On the next slide I would have showed you, we talk about the many different projects, including the Footer Dye Works in Columbia, the Phillips Packing Plant in Cambridge, National Seminary, Fort Ritchie. We have these large complexes that were formerly state or federal owned all across the state of Maryland. Another good example is the Crownsville Campus Hospital, which currently sits empty, but it's continuing to cost the state's taxpayers large sums of money to keep the grounds mowed and the buildings secure. In my own district, we have the Springfield Hospital, now Warfield and Sykesville, which could be generating
I
substantial
don't think so.
income.
I just want to be able to. Okay,
Madam
I'm
Chair,
sure,
you're
but
not
okay, please do. Sorry about that. Sorry about that. Thank you.
Sorry, I was muted as well. So in my own district, we have Springfield, the old Warfield Hospital, which it has been transferred from the state to the town and now is in the hands of a private developer. And their estimates show that this could be generating income up to $2,000 per 1,000 square feet per year for retail, office, or industrial, and as much as $4,000 per unit per year in tax revenue for residential uses. So it's really critical to our neighborhood revitalization to get this project looking better than it currently does. I did a study last year, which I also shared with you all, with the Department of Planning, Secretary McCord, as well as Preservation Maryland and Delegate Regina Boyce. And there were a number of different recommendations in this report. And we knew it was important for several reasons, because first of all, there's so many of these large complexes across the state. Secondly, the cost of the maintenance is going up, and third, the ROI that we just talked about. And this catalytic revitalization tax credit was one of the key recommendations of that report that we worked on for over a year. In addition to the return on investment from taxes I just talked about, for every $1 of tax credit issued in our historic preservation fund, there's $8.13 of economic activity that's generated. So for example, $15 million in tax credits will create nearly 800 jobs, which is 20% more jobs than in traditional construction. We talked a little bit about the tax revenues, but there's also the increase in the associated value of the property, which can increase up to 20 to 30% once you redevelop a complex like this. And so Senate Bill 885 is just a small step in this right direction. But I believe that by investing $10 million in this tax credit, we could expect an additional $80 million in additional economic activity and potentially 500 or so more jobs. So what does the Senate bill do? First of all, it doesn't interfere with the American Rescue Act. We worked really hard with lawyers to figure that out on this side, in the Senate on this side. It authorizes an income tax credit, which would be capped at $15 million per project, to be claimed over at least 5 years following the completion of the project. And it won't impact the budget the way the program's designed for several years, because the tax credit issued in year 1 cannot be taken until the project is complete. And as I said, these are really, really big projects. So it's likely to be 5 years after its initial issuance. The tax credit may be transferred, it's refundable or carried forward by the certificate holder, which is really important for the private sector. Furthermore, it allows the issuance of only one certificate within a 2-year period. And the sunset program the program sunsets in 2031. So like it would be helpful for my district, in Sykesville, it would also be helpful for many of your districts where you have large projects as well. Let me see. So I guess in summary, the reasons to vote for this bill: one, in a time when we have significant unemployment, this will create high quality jobs in Maryland. Second, it transforms properties that are currently financial drains into engines of economic activity. And third, it obviously preserves our history as a state, which is very rich. That was something that I learned throughout doing the study with the Department of Planning, that we do have so much great history in our state that needs to be preserved. So I'll stop there. And once again, I apologize if that was a little choppy. It would make more sense if I had the PowerPoint, but I'll make sure to send that to all of you afterwards. I'm happy to take any questions.
We do have questions. Delegate Palakovich-Carr with a question.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Senator Hester, for the bill. And we actually have your PowerPoint uploaded in the floor system. So I think some
Oh, good. Okay.
on the slides. Yeah, well, thank you for this legislation. I actually had an opportunity yesterday to have a good conversation with some of the stakeholders involved with, I think it's the Warfield Hospital site in Carroll County, and about some of their plans and what the tax credit might mean for their program. The conversation got me thinking, though, a bit about in terms of how affordable housing might play into this, recognizing that it seems like this tax credit largely is about historic preservation and getting these buildings back into use. But given the lack of affordable housing in so many jurisdictions across the state of Maryland, one piece I just kind of wondered, is there an opportunity here to have some preference or prioritization perhaps for projects like the Warfield site, but others in the future that are trying to create new affordable housing while doing renovations and preservation of these buildings, perhaps maybe, have a preference in terms of funding when the department is actually selecting applicants for that?
Thank you for the question, Delegate Palakovich-Carr. I think, affordable housing is certainly something that we're thinking about in the Sykesville area. The goal was really originally mixed use, but they've done a lot of market studies to try to figure out what would be the most, what would sell in the area, really, because we have to sell this, and affordable housing is in very high demand. So simultaneously, I believe they're pursuing workforce housing credits with DHCD. So I totally agree with you. We need more affordable housing in the state. In terms of prioritization, I think that the way the program is structured, DHCD would be promulgating regulations. So I think it could be covered there, but the bill is in the hands of your committee, and I leave it to your wisdom to amend the bill as you see fit.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Are there any other questions? I totally have a bad internet connection. Can anyone? Is my connection any better?
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. I urge a favorable report on Senate Bill 885.
Thank you. I was frozen for a bit. Thank you very much.
Mine's been bad too. Have a great day, everybody.
All right. If seeing no other questions, we're done with 885. Senator Rosapep, Senate Bill 133.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thanks, members of the committee. This is a cross-file of House Bill 319, sponsored by Delegate Carr, which allows local governments to create progressive local income taxes. As was amended by the Senate, it took out the ability to go above the current cap. It set the minimum rate at 2.25 to protect state revenue related to the tax on out-of-state residents. And it changed the way the disparity grant is calculated in relation to local income tax rates to protect the disparity grant. So that's something we worked out with MACO. Happy to answer questions. And if I can't answer them, Delegate Carr will.
Palakovich Carr, Senator, that was, you win for the best testimony of the day. And you're not the only one with an identical crossfile, so or almost identical crossfile. Are there any questions for Senator Rosapep or for Delegate Palakovich Carr? All right, thank you, Senator.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right, our next bill is Senate Bill 196, a economic development, a departmental bill, and we're delighted to have Secretary Schultz here today, who was a wonderful, amazing guest speaker for my class Tuesday night, especially given that we were on the House floor at the time. So she basically substituted for me. So thank you, Madam Secretary. I can't hear you. It looks like you're not muted, but we're having trouble hearing you.
Okay, sorry about that. Am I louder now? Thank you very much. It was so fun to be with your students again. They're such a bright bunch, so I can see where you get a lot of energy from them. So thanks for that opportunity. And Madam Chair and Vice Chairman Washington for having me here today to present Senate Bill 196. And for the record, I'm Kelly Schultz, Secretary of Maryland's Department of Commerce. As always, I have backup, so I am joined today by Lonnie Sinfield, who is here to assist me if there are any very specific technical programmatic questions. Senate Bill 196 makes several changes to our research and development tax credit that we believe will improve the program. It places more focus on supporting new research and makes the program more accessible to small businesses. This bill is the product of a thorough examination of this and other programs undertaken by the Commerce staff. We looked at 5 years of data on this program and drew some conclusions about how it could be made more effective. One observation was that because the program is oversubscribed and prorated, companies often end up with about 10% to 15% of the credit for which they are eligible. Another observation is that companies with large R&D expenditures are able to claim a disproportionate portion of the credit, while an increasing number of small businesses are applying to the program and are only receiving a small credit. Our bill attempts to make the program more equitable. Currently, the R&D tax credit program contains 2 credits, a basic credit that is based on an average of a company's R&D's expenditures over the previous 5 years, and a growth credit based on increases in R&D expenditures above that 4-year average. Senate Bill 196 eliminated the basic credit and reallocates that portion of the program's funding to the growth credit. So the growth credit allocation would increase from $6.5 million to $12 million. We believe that focusing on the growth credit and incentivizing new research and new development will be a more effective use of the state's limited resources. We will be rewarding companies for pursuing new R&D projects rather than rewarding the same project year after year. Senate Bill 196 also reserves $3.5 million for small businesses and limits the credit each company can claim to $250,000 per year. We've also clarified the definition of a small business, which is a company with less than $5 million in net book value assets. We believe that these changes will increase support for our innovative small businesses and startups, allowing them to be more competitive with larger companies. They will also make the best use of the state funds by incentivizing new research and development. And I'm really happy to say that the team at Commerce has worked with the subcommittee on this bill already, even prior to this hearing, so that we can talk about some of the opportunities to be able to move forward with this tax credit and the other tax credits that we've discussed with this committee over the course of the last couple of months. And with that, Madam Chair, we do request a favorable report on Senate Bill 196. Happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Secretary Schultz, and thank you, yes, for you and your department being such great partners on all these tax credits that we're all looking at. Any questions for Secretary Schultz? All right, thank you, Madam Secretary, and thank you for your patience in waiting for all the senators.
Of course. Thank you so much.
All right, members, don't click off quite yet. We are done with the hearing on Senate Bill 196 and done with the hearing in general. I was concerned earlier on timing. I know that many of us have bills over in the Senate right now. So rather than voting in half an hour, we'll vote in an hour. So an email is going to your offices as well, but you're hearing it now that we will vote as a committee at 3:20. So we're pushing things back essentially by half an hour, or anyway, pushing things back a little bit. Okay. So good luck in your Senate hearings. I have to head over there, and I know Delegate Guyton already did as well. So I will see you all at 3:20 and some of you at 2:50.